So, what you're about to watch is a little different than most of my programs. This is an excerpt from a 2-day conference from the Excellence in Leadership Institute, which I am a part of. And we're talking with Kenny Embry, and he's talking about communication and leadership. This is only a 10-minute excerpt. And if you like it, the next two are also Kenny talking, but this is just to give you a taste of it to see what you think. Okay, here we go.
You are listening to The Leadersmith, Darren Gerdes.
And one of the bigger pictures is communication. I asked Kenny Embry to come on. Kenny is a friend. We know each other from academic conferences. He's a professor at St. Leo University. He's been on my podcast before. No. I've been on his podcast before. He's going to be on mine here. And so I asked him to come on and talk about communication because I could hardly think of somebody who would be better equipped to talk about the topic of communication and leadership. So, Kenny, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Darren, thanks for having me, man. I always enjoy spending time with you.
Well, that's good. We also wrote a case together for our upcoming conference, so I'm glad to know that you do enjoy spending time with me. We'll work together on that. Okay, so let's talk about communication. So communication is like one of these soft skills that everybody like. It's kind of like leadership. Like everybody thinks I'm a leader, right? Yeah. With or without any evidence that that's the case, right. But everybody feels like they can communicate and they have mastered the art of communication. But then one of the most problematic things in organizations we know statistically is miscommunication. So where is the disconnect? What's going on?
Well, I think one of the things that happens, especially as you move up an organization, let's say you're hired as an engineer, and the thing about it is you just do gangbusters with widgets, and widgets you are really good at it, and you perfect the widget, and then this terrible thing happens to you, and your boss says, "Boy, you're really good at widgets. We need you to oversee other people that are making widgets."
That sounds good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's more money. You get more time off. You get a bigger office, and all of a sudden, your problem isn't widgets anymore. Your problem are the people that are under you. And the higher up you go within any organization, the more communication skills become more important. It becomes that thing that what got you to that level was not communication skills. It was probably a set of hard skills that you knew about a technical area. And the higher up you go within an organization, those hard skills are still important to have. But how do you motivate people to do good stuff? That's harder.
That makes a lot of sense. So, so give me some practically flesh out what that engineer who has now become engineer manager is going to face. Like, help me understand what those problems are, because he could string a sentence together and get a subject and verb in every sentence before. So, what's going on now?
Yeah, what's happening now is well, and this happens in many different ways. I mean, you think about how this works in well, I mean, you and I are both academics, and one of the things that I know as an academic is there are times when I'm looking at my students and I'm sitting here thinking, you're only 2 steps away. Let me just do this for you. Let me just fix this for you. Let me make this, because I know what you meant to do. I know where you're trying to get to, and you're so close. And quite frankly, it takes more work for me to tell you how to do it than for me just to do it for you.
Yeah.
There's your micromanager. That's the person that does not want to oversee. Does not want to oversee growth. They want to oversee outcomes.
Yeah, you were just describing what it's like to be a parent. You ever had to like clean up your room time? Whoa, holy cow! I've had my kids go all day fighting with each other about who wasn't cleaning their room, and then at the end of the day, just out of frustration, I did it in 15 minutes.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, my kitchen is right over here. The dishwasher will need to be unloaded. It will take my children 20 minutes to argue about it and 10 minutes to do it. So, I mean, I understand the process. They know the process. We're going to do the same thing with the laundry this afternoon. I mean, it will take half an hour of arguing. It will take 20 minutes of work. So, I mean, that happens all the time. With the beauty of with children is we know their brain is not fully functional. We know their brain is not fully formed.
Yeah.
And so until they get the kind of judgment that they need, we substitute our own.
Yeah.
And that's important for parents to do. That's why minors are not responsible for their actions.
That's right.
We are. That's why
So
we go ahead.
so the engineering manager isn't in that same category, and you just liken him to a micromanager for doing the same kind of thing.
Well, it's a frustration level that we have with you're not doing the way, quote unquote, you need to be doing it.
Mhm.
And it's hard for us that once we learn something, we know one way to do it. I mean, I talked about the dishwasher in there. Apparently, in my house, there's a right way to put dishes in the dishwasher. Um, that you guys know as well
There
as
is in
I
my
do.
house too. In my house, it's putting it in. It's getting it into the dishwasher. I have a very low bar.
The left in my house, the bottom left-hand side, left-hand corner is where the plates go. And then the right-hand side is where all the silverware should go.
Mhm.
And on the outer sides of the top is where the glassware should go. Look, the amazing thing is you can reconfigure that several different ways. You and I both know there's not a right answer here.
Yeah, but the joy of arguing with it for 20 minutes is hard to. I mean, you can't put a price on that, right?
Well, I tell you what you can't put a price on is you can't put a price on a house that is working well.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I understand, and I'm not trying to make this sound sexist at all, but the dishwasher is something that's important to me, to my wife. And if I want to fight that battle, I will lose the war. And that is not a battle worth fighting.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I in any organization, you need to figure out what are the sacred things within that organization that are
Yeah.
just weird. And you just need to be able to get along with it. And then you need to start also asking the questions. What are the weird things that are here that just don't work that well?
Yeah, yeah.
And those are different things.
Yeah, so let me go back to the engineering manager.
Yeah.
What should he do instead of what he was doing in your
In
scenario?
my mind, yeah, okay. Let me take 2 steps back because I think one of the things this is going to start uncovering is in my view of communication, and I realize I'm an academic. I live in an ivory tower, all of that. I mean, I am so out of touch with reality, blah, 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 blah. I understand that. I am so grateful I get paid to think
Yeah,
because my bricklaying skills not so great.
yeah.
One of the
Hurts my
things,
back.
yeah, no kidding, no kidding. Uh, my my view of communication is that it is at its core relational.
Mhm.
In other words, communication is all about relationships. There's a picture. MC Escher, and my guess is you guys may or may not know who MC Escher is. Uh, he was an artist who wrote some really kind of surreal things. And you're going to look this up, aren't you, Darren?
Oh, yeah, I was already
Okay, yeah,
starting.
yeah.
You caught me.
Bond of Union. Look up Bond of Union.
Okay.
That's the picture I'm going to be looking for. MC Escher drew some things that were fantastical. Probably his best known is where it's two hands drawing the sleeves of one another, and you can see that it's a really kind of a fun piece of artwork. But in Bond of Union, one of the things that MC Escher does is he basically has one ribbon, and the one ribbon is basically twined around, so it makes two faces. And there's a theorist that I've always appreciated. There it is. You see that one ribbon that's basically creating two faces. If you anticipate that if you say that ribbon is communication, and if you take that ribbon away, what are you left with?
Nothing.
You're left with nothing.
Right.
My argument is communication, all relationships are communication. Because if you take away communication out of that relationship, you're not left with anything.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
really not
that's a
left
great
with anything.
analogy. That's a great
Yeah.
analogy. I mean, and so communication, does it have to be a dialogue to be communication?
It doesn't have to be a dialogue. And by the way, I'd say some of the most important communication you've got going on is the communication inside your head. I teach a bunch of freshmen. I teach a bunch of freshmen public speaking, and I could I have taught it for so long that I know what I'm going to be looking at every time. It's going to be some people that have state anxiety. In other words, that just makes them nervous, and they just need to learn how to get through the nervous. And then trait anxiety, and that's something that takes somebody who's beyond my pay grade to fix. And sometimes it's just not fixable. But I know going in, it's a lot of people that don't want to give a speech. I get that. I understand that. I I had that too, but it's kind of like teaching your kid how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
You can talk all about, oh, it's going to be all right. It's going to be good. You're going to be fine. It's going to be fine. You're going to be okay. Is okay? Is that okay? Or you can just say, nah, get up there.
Yeah, but a certain time you gotta get beyond the theoretical and just do the thing,
Bingo.
right? Whatever it is
Yeah.
that you fear, you just have to get it and do that thing.
The problem with my profession is we were probably too much ready, aim, 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 fire. And I think one of the things that
Yep.
I have appreciated about entrepreneurs are they are ready, fire, aim.
Yep.
And
Okay, so that was Kenny Embry. If you like it, go on to the next episode and you'll hear more. And he's got a lot of great stuff to say about leadership and communication.